Hey guys, it's Marley. Welcome to a new reading vlog. For this video, I'm going to be doing a tradition that I've had on my channel since 2020 when I started my channel, and that is reading Indigo's best books of the year. This year is obviously 2024. It's my 5th year doing this video and maybe my last, because I just kind of feel like the idea has run its course and I might want to do something different next year. But anyways, basically what I do is I look through Indigo's best books of the year list, which they always put out, I think around October or November. Indigo's, of course, Canada's biggest bookseller company, and how I do it is I normally just kind of look through the list and pick out the books that I am most interested in. It's not necessarily like their top 5 books that I'm gonna read, but they are all from their top 100. So I'll quickly introduce you to the 5 books I'm gonna read in this vlog, and then we can just hop into the vlog portion. You can see my thoughts on these books and also what I'm up to in the first couple weeks of December. So first of all, I am going to read Indigo's top #1 book of the year, which is Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. This is, I believe, a literary fiction type of book with a bit of a thriller vibe. I've actually never read from Liane Moriarty before, but she's of course a very popular author of Big Little Lies and other books like that. This one is about a group of people who are on this plane, and then this woman comes around and predicts when all of them are going to die. And it's these people kind of grappling with this knowledge, especially the people who are told they're gonna die soon. And I think it just explores how people react when they know this kind of information. Next up, I want to read Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I think this was in Indigo's top 3 of the year. I'm definitely a Sally Rooney fan, so I was excited to see this on the list. It's about 2 brothers who are both grappling with the grief of losing their father. They're both very different. One of them is a successful businessman or lawyer or some job like that, and the other one is, I think, more of a nerdy chess player type of guy. So we're seeing both of their lives, and I think also their different love stories that they have with different women. Then a book from one of my favorite authors, so I'm really excited about it, is What Have You Done by Shari Lapena. She, I think, is pretty much always on the list. She's a Canadian author, and I think Indigo tends to put a lot of Canadian authors on their best books list, which makes sense. This is kind of a typical domestic thriller taking place in this small, seemingly innocent town where nothing crazy really happens, but one day this teenage girl is found murdered, and so now we're hearing from all the different people in the town, figuring out what happened, what led to this girl's murder, who's the guilty party, kind of a typical whodunit situation. Shari Lapena's books are always really great for me, so excited for this one. Then for a romance pick, we're gonna go with Carley Fortune's new book, This Summer Will Be Different. I know this takes place in PEI. It's another Canadian author and Canadian story. I can't quite remember all the details of this romance, but I think it's a best friend's brother type of romance, and that's kind of the forbidden element, but we'll see once we get into it. And the final book, I'm really excited about this one. It is the sequel to Everyone in My Family's Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson, called Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. This is following our main character Ernest again, and I think instead of investigating a whodunit situation going on at a ski resort family reunion like in the first book, he's obviously going to be trying to solve a murder on a train. So I'm really excited. The first book I read last year for this video, I gave it 4.5 stars. So there's a real potential that this could be a 5-star read for me. So let's get into the vlog and see how I feel about some of these best books of the year. Good morning. I'm about to head out to work, but I thought I would check in because I did reach the halfway point in Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. This is a bit of a longer book, but it's feeling pretty quick to read actually. So in the story, we are seeing a number of people on this flight, mainly this woman who is coined the Death Lady because she kind of blacks out and then starts walking up and down the plane aisles, pointing at people, telling them when they're gonna die and how. So for example, 88 years old from a heart attack. Stuff like that. We're seeing all these different people that she's making these predictions for and how they're reacting. This is a flight going to Sydney, so like the book takes place in Australia. So a lot of the book is seeing this initial flight from a bunch of people's different perspectives. We're getting some background on who these characters are, like, oh, this guy's a father, this guy's, you know, this 30-year-old guy, bachelor, there's a new married couple, there's an older married couple, like all these different types of people on this flight. Then we see after the flight and how they are living their lives now that they have these predictions, and a lot of people just kind of brush her off, think she's some crazy lady, but there's a few people who are a little bit disturbed because their deaths were coming up. Like the guy who's 30 or was just turning 30 is told he's gonna die at that age, so the people who are supposed to die soon are kind of like on edge and wondering like if it's really gonna come true. So we're seeing again all of their different lives, and we're still seeing this death lady's life, and we're kind of learning about her history and her background. I do find her chapters to be a little bit uninteresting, some of the parts where we're learning about her upbringing, because I don't really see the relevance of it right now in connection with these other people, but maybe we will get that by the end. Recently, we have just had the first person pass away in the same way that this woman has predicted, and so now we're seeing everyone else on the flight learning about this in the news. I think it's really a question of like, did that girl die because she had this prediction, or was that always going to be the way she was going to die? There's like definitely a lot of questions and things being explored here on like free will, and if we even have a say in anything, or if it's already determined and there's nothing we can do. So if you are interested in that kind of concept, definitely check it out. I can see why it would be the #1 book of Indigo. I feel like it's pretty easy to read. A lot of the chapters are short, so that of course makes the readability go up. The writing is pretty fun, pretty accessible and everything. This is my first Liane Moriarty, so I didn't, you know, totally know what to expect. Yeah, I'll admit though, when I first opened the book, oh yeah, I almost forgot, when I first opened the book that first night, I thought it was so boring. I literally read maybe like 1 or 2 chapters and I was like, I'm putting this down. So I definitely actually was a little bit nervous. So if you feel the same way, I mean, I would say just keep pushing through, because now I got to 50% relatively quickly. So yeah, it definitely got better. So yeah, that's my halfway check-in, and I'm very curious to see how everything will come together, because, you know, I've already heard about this setup. I kind of expected everything that's happened so far, knowing the synopsis. So it'll be interesting to see where the rest of the book goes. Alright, this is not a reading update, but an unboxing update. I've been obsessed with a certain side of TikTok lately. Can I open this? And I decided to purchase a few things for a new hobby. Or an existing hobby, but like elevated. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Cozy Friends Cute and Comfy Coloring Book by Coco Wayo. If anyone has been on Coloring Talk, let me know down below. I've been obsessed with watching people color these super cute little coloring books, this kind of design. And there's a few different kinds out there, but yeah, I'm just obsessed. I went with this one because I thought it looked pretty like simple for like a starter. Sorry, my friggin' tripod constantly falls on me. I'm so excited. Oh my god. Okay, and then I got these Jelly Roll gel pens, which people use to add like highlights to the coloring. And then last thing, yeah, is my alcohol markers. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So these are the ones I ordered. I'm gonna have to double check because I don't know if this is the brand that I ordered. But anyways, these alcohol markers are really, oh my god. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to show you guys. Okay. Here's the collection. Oh my goodness. Do these look cute? So basically there's like a really expensive brand of alcohol markers you can get that all the girlies are getting, but I was like, I don't want to spend that much. I am someone who's pretty like dedicated, like I'm not gonna move on from hobbies that often, so it probably would have been safe for me to invest, but I just thought I'll go for like a cheaper brand. I didn't think it was this one though, Bellezza Suprema. I did not think it was these ones that I ordered, so I'm gonna have to double check my order, but I basically just bought like a cheaper version of these markers. Anyways, I'm just so excited. Just so excited to get started. So I'll definitely keep you updated in this vlog if I do any coloring. I definitely will. I've already planned that I am going to listen to an audiobook at some point so that I can be coloring while I listen. Hello vlog. So I have finished Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty, and this had quite a bit of a tearjerker ending. First of all, I read most of this on the subway. Coming home tonight, it took me 2 hours to get home instead of 1 because the subway was just not running. So it actually forced me to just sit there and finish the rest of my book. I didn't plan to, but even though that delay was really annoying, at least it helped me finish the book. So I was there on the subway, like literally holding back tears from the ending. Not that it's like that dramatic of an ending, but like just reading the whole story, all these different characters, our main lady, the death lady, Shari, you know, you just see so much of her life. We're really seeing her whole life throughout the book, and then we're just seeing these little moments of all the other characters after their predictions. Having such a character-based story, a story that's so much about life and death and loss and living life to the fullest and stuff like that, like it's just gonna make you emotional. So if you are in the mood for a read like that, then I would recommend this book. I'm probably gonna rate it like a 4-star. You know me, in this year I rarely rate anything 5 stars, so I probably would give it a solid 4. I did really like it. I did end up, as I was saying, feeling really connected to Shari and her life. Not that it was that like crazy of a life. I mean, she had love, she had loss, all the typical things, but I don't know. I ended up really, you know, connecting with her story. It was kind of a heartwarming situation at the end, which is always nice to have that kind of feeling, heartwarming feeling at the end. So yeah, I overall would recommend this book. I see why, you know, Indigo would rate it number 1. I think there's a lot of universal things going on in the book that people can relate to and enjoy reading about. So that's the first book. I will let you know when I get into the second. Hopefully the rest of these books are just as good or better. Hello. Hey guys, just finished watching the new Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie. Not good. Guess I could have told you that even before I watched it. But okay, I've been having such a good time with my coloring book. Oh my god, okay. I've just been doing like the little test pages so far. Kind of like test out the markers and make sure I'm like learning the techniques and everything. You can kind of tell that it was a little streaky at some parts as I was like getting the hang of the technique, but it's really helped that I've been watching so much color talk. Like I've definitely learned a lot from watching people. But yeah, then there's this other test page that I did. I don't love it, but I started to do a few highlights and shadows, and then those ones started turning out better. And then this page I started working on of the characters. I think it's so cute. I've been like adding little extra things to the background with the highlights and the patterns and stuff because I've seen people do that on Coloring Talk, and I just think it's so cute. So I'm absolutely loving that. And while I've been doing that, I of course was listening to the audiobook for, what is the book called? This Summer Will Be Different, the romance. Honestly, so I'm glad I'm listening to this audiobook because I wanted to mix up the genres of audiobooks I listen to, because so far I've really only been listening to thriller books. So I wanted to listen to a romance, but I don't know guys, sorry my tripod's falling. I don't know, this is a pretty bland romance, to be honest. It is, which sucks because like I really liked Carley Fortune's first book so much, and she keeps having flops after. Like I hate to say that, girl, but that's the reality. Yeah, basically we have our main character. Oh my god, this tripod, I actually don't know how to make it stay. I swear I tightened this and it still falls. So we have our main character, like in all of Carley's books, she's a Torontonian, lives in Toronto, but she has a best friend who's originally from PEI. So we know that when they originally became friends and she went to PEI for the first time, she was like sitting at this bar waiting for her friend because she hadn't got there yet. And she met this guy, they had like this really great hookup situation, and then she finds out that that he is the brother of her best friend. The brother that her friend said, you can never fall in love with him. She specifically said that you cannot fall in love with my brother because she had a situation where her best friend dated her brother and it didn't turn out. So that is why she is like banning our main character from dating her brother. So of course they want to respect that. So now they like never shared the fact that they hooked up, and they've just been like fighting their feelings for years, because now they've been friends for I don't even know how long, maybe like 5 years or something. Basically we're finding out that like they continue to hook up like every time she visits and have this like insane chemistry, but they've just kept it a secret. They know it can't go anywhere because the friend has said this rule. So it's very basic. It's very like okay, I get that your friend like banned you from being together, but it just feels forced. Like if you really told her, I'm sure she would be fine with it. I don't know, like I honestly think that's what's gonna end up happening, is she's gonna find out and then be like, you know what, I support it because I can tell you guys really love each other or something. I'm not really getting like great vibes from this couple. The main character, I think her name's Lucy, but they call her B, something like that, and then his name's Felix, but they call him Wolf. Anyways, there's just a lot of sex in it, like because they have this hookup based relationship where they don't see each other that much, and when they do they just like hook up. It's like that's not really my thing. I don't know if Carley was trying to like up the smut because she knows that's kind of like trendy, and I don't think her previous books were that smut heavy, but I just don't think it really works. So overall I'm not really enjoying this. My favorite parts are honestly the Toronto and like Ontario references. I always do like that about her books because Carley is from here, and so I just always appreciate the little things that she mentions that I can relate to because this is where I live. So I do like that about her books, but yeah, unfortunately it's definitely disappointing me. I'm definitely enjoying the coloring more than the listening. So if I were to rate it right now, I'd say it's looking like it's gonna be like probably less than a 3-star, maybe a 3 if I end up being generous, but like it might be even lower than a 3. I don't know, maybe it can be higher if I like associate it with coloring. So then in my head I like it more, but no, I don't think so. Like I really think this might be the worst book of the blog. So I'm gonna go back to listening, go back to coloring, and I'll keep you guys updated on all of my colorings, all my coloring projects. Hey guys, it is the next day. I originally planned to have some B-roll of maybe some Christmas activities because I was gonna have us go out, but we actually just ended up staying in and having a lazy day. So I did color another picture, of course, and I did finish the book. Like kind of the same vibes for the second half. I mean, it was not that interesting of a book, which I feel bad saying because in Carley Fortune's like author acknowledgements, she said she had such a fun time writing this book, and I think it could be more fun for you if you are from Prince Edward Island and or have some sort of connection with that area, because I feel like she put a lot of, you know, the ways that I appreciate her Toronto references and just kind of have fun with that. I think maybe if you are from PEI, you could feel the same way about a lot of her like PEI references. Like there is so much oyster shucking in this book, and like I just don't really care about that. But yeah, just a really predictable romance, and as I said, the steamiest one. I do think we got to know more of the depth with the relationship in the second half, because as I was saying in my first update, like we were just so much focused on like their hookups and their sex scenes, but I do think we got to kind of see more of their feelings for each other in the second half, so that's nice. But ultimately I think I might rate it like 2.5 stars or maybe 3, but I feel like I'm gonna say 2.5. I kind of feel like this is the worst of the books that I've read from her, unfortunately, which of course makes me question whether I want to like continue prioritizing her books. Just because I liked her first one, I mean, now I've been disappointed twice by her other books. So definitely not a romance I would recommend, not unique in any way, just quite basic and predictable. Except for if you're from PEI, I think you could get something from it. There were some nice like friendship stuff. The main girl and her friend, their relationship was also a pretty big aspect to the book, so I did like that. And we had kind of classic situation of our main character trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. She wants to move to PEI for what she's going to do with her career. So there were some other, my tripod again, some other topics being being explored, but yeah, it just was not enough. So I think I'm gonna go into Shari Lapena's book next. I just really need a win, and it is still the weekend, so I feel like if it's the same as when I read her other books, I could probably just sit and binge it as long as I have the hours free, which I do. If I can hold off coloring another page, that is. Oh, some character descriptions. Okay, I just read these character summaries. My initial guess of who the killer is going to be is Aaron Baldock, just based on the character descriptions. He's the manager at Home Depot. He was Diana's boss. That's the girl who's going to die. He adored Diana, just like everybody else, it says. It seems like there's quite a few potential creepy men in this cast, so I feel like it could go the direction of an older guy that murdered her. So, let's begin. Alrighty, I am halfway through What Have You Done? Did not take long at all to get halfway through this book as I predicted. Pretty much it is exactly what you would expect. It is a mystery thriller that takes place in this small town in Vermont. The kind of town where like people don't even lock their doors, they feel so safe. And then one day this guy finds this teenage girl murdered in his field. I don't know if it's like a farm or some sort of field. And yeah, so the girl has been strangled, she's naked, and now it is this mystery of who killed her. And we're seeing so many different points of view of people who knew this girl. Her name was Diane, such as her mom, her boyfriend, her friends, and then a bunch of other people in the town. A lot of men. As I alluded to before, when I first read the character descriptions, I thought it was her boss at the store. That's not really what I'm thinking now that I've actually read part of the book. My main theory, I'm honestly going to be kind of upset if it is true because I just feel like it's so obvious. So basically, the only reason I think it's him. It's not like they've given us any other reasons to suspect him, but that's why I just really think it's him. I think in the second half we're gonna find out his motive. If it's that, I'm kind of gonna be a little bit disappointed because I feel like it's so obvious. And I know I did see someone I follow give it 1 star, so maybe that is why. Maybe it's just like really obvious. I don't know. I've heard some other good things. Yeah, either way, Shari Lapena's books read so quickly for me, where I just have such a fun time reading it. So that's why sometimes I don't know how to rate her books, because I'm like, oh well, it was so like fun to read, but then nothing was like shocking. Some of her books have been like that, but we'll have to see. I don't know if I'm gonna read any more today, but I anticipate I'll probably finish it tomorrow, so I'll check back in once I've finished it. And obviously I won't tell you what's happened, I won't spoil anything, but we'll have to see how I feel at the end. Good morning. So I actually did finish What Have You Done last night. Sorry if you can hear my coffee machine going. I just got up out of bed, but yeah, I did stay up reading this. So I did complete it in just 1 day. Classic Shari Lapena writing. For some reason, I always get so addicted to reading her books. It's kind of weird, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to... I mean, I guess you guys would have saw how I edited the previous clip, because in my previous update, I basically just totally predicted who the killer was. Like, I completely figured it out from the very start. So I'm gonna have to go back and edit what I said in the first update, so I don't know exactly what you saw, because I don't want to spoil it for you, of course. Me just like laying out exactly who the killer was and why. But yeah, in that update, I just thought it was so obvious with a certain thing that was done with the way the story was told that made it really obvious who the killer was. So that kind of took a lot away from it for me. Obviously the point of a thriller mystery is to like not know who the killer is, and the fact that I knew so confidently for the whole book was definitely disappointing. At one point it kind of tricked me into thinking it was someone else, and I thought it was even worse. I was like, oh, this is even worse than what I predicted. But no, I ended up being right at the end of the day. So yeah, that definitely wasn't great. And then overall, I just kind of feel like this is my least favorite of her books. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know, like I just feel like her newer ones have been good, and it was more of like when I read her older books that I wasn't as impressed. But yeah, this one just wasn't great for me personally. Hopefully other people would like it. I don't want to completely dissuade you from reading it. Maybe you wouldn't have figured out the twist and would have more fun with it. Just overall, like too, I found it a little bit not like that fun to read because of so many creepy men being in this book. Like, you know, and it's just kind of uncomfortable reading about so many creeps. And this book was really saying like men are evil, which is fair, but I don't know. I don't feel like I loved other aspects of it as well as the fact that I guessed who the killer was, is what I'm trying to say. And it's actually kind of funny that like the one guy I predicted after reading the character descriptions was probably like the only nice man in this book, the only good man. So yeah, that sucks. I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads last night. I considered reading it even lower, but the fact that I just always read her books so quick and get addicted to them, there's obviously a certain like element to the book that just works for me. So I gave it a 3, but just know like I potentially could have rated it lower. So that sucks that we literally had a 2.5 star and then again a lower rated book back to back. But I just saw that my hold for Intermezzo came in, or like I got a skip the line copy, which is really good timing. So I'm gonna read the Sally Rooney one next. It's been a minute since I read one of her books, so I just hope she can come through for me, because I know in these Indigo reading vlogs, sometimes I really love the books, but there has been a lot of times where I dislike the books. I hate for it to be that type of year. It's Sunday, so I still should have a good amount of time to read today. I just might try to go out just because I was cooped up all day yesterday. We'll see what happens. I'll show you if I do anything interesting. Otherwise, expect an update for Intermezzo soon. Hello everyone. Clearly I'm feeling festive today. I am going to be heading out to my company Christmas party in about an hour, but I wanted to do a little check-in before I did that because I know I'm going to get some reading done on my commute. I am 43 I believe % of the way through Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and Sally Rooney is really Sally Rooneying with this book, let me say. I could definitely see this book not being for everyone. There's definitely some people who are not gonna jive with this book and this writing style. But first of all, the plot. Well, is there a plot? First question. So we have these 2 brothers. I believe the older brother's name is Peter and the younger one is Ivan. They have quite a big age difference between them, like at least 10 years. And they have just recently lost their father to cancer. So they are both grieving this, and we are seeing how they're processing it and also their different romantic entanglements that they have going on. So with Peter, you would think he has his life all together, right? He's a lawyer, he's pretty wealthy, but clearly being in his head and his point of view, you can tell that something's up with him mentally. He seems to be depressed. Classic Sally Rooney vibes. We always have depressed characters. And so he is currently going out with this younger woman. She is a sex worker, so he is paying her basically for her companionship and stuff. But then he also is pining over his ex-girlfriend, who he still is really close with. She seems to be ill. I don't know if it's like a terminal illness, but she seems to be quite ill and he's helping take care of her, but they're like no longer able to be together. Then in Ivan's point of view, he is about 22. He definitely reads as being on the spectrum. I feel pretty confident about that, of how he's being portrayed. And he's really into chess. He plays kind of professional chess, and you know, he's young. He doesn't really have his life sorted out. He's living with roommates, struggling to pay rent kind of thing. But at this one chess tournament, he meets this woman who is working there. She's an older woman. She's like 36. She ends up driving him home and they hook up. He kind of like seduces her because she is also clearly going through something. We also get her points of view, which I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it maybe should have just been the 2 brothers, but we get her point of view too. Her name's Margaret. We see that she's going through a divorce. She's, you know, going through something. Yeah, lets this 22-year-old guy like kind of seduce her, and then they start a relationship, but obviously they know a lot of people would judge them for it with the age difference and everything. So that's mainly the plot. We're just seeing both of these gentlemen and the relationships with the characters I mentioned, the relationship they have with each other, obviously having that big age gap. Like, I think they've never really been close growing up. As for the writing style, if you don't know, Sally Rooney doesn't put quotation marks in her books, which can bother some people. I don't mind it. I'm able to understand. You kind of have to pay a little bit of closer attention to see like what is dialogue and what is not, because it all just runs together. In fact, there's so many pages in this book where there's like no paragraph breaks. It's all just like one huge text block. So it's a little bit daunting, to be honest. And it's also a longer book. I think this is her longest book she's had. So we'll see. Like, there's some points where I'm just like, okay, in her past books, I've enjoyed them, even though it's writing about very mundane stuff, stream of consciousness, not much plot. But in this one, I'm like, it might be pushing me a little bit to my limits with that. I'm not hating it. I find that, like, even though it's like a huge text block, I'm able to just kind of get into it, and it does read pretty quickly. But as I said, I'm nearly halfway through, and it's like, what more is gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I could see myself in the second half getting kind of over this. And like, maybe there's a reason, like, none of my friends on Goodreads have read this. So yeah, I guess it's a little bit different from her other books because, you know, it's about two men, two brothers. But because of that, I feel like I'm not really relating to the characters as much because they're not as like similar to me in age and gender and stuff like that. But yeah, not hating it, just feeling like I won't end up liking it as much as Conversation with Friends and Normal People. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I will just check in when I finished the book, give you my final thoughts. But yeah, I'm going to be going to some Christmassy events the next couple days, so maybe I can show you some of that. We'll see. Heading out to the next holiday party. I am obsessed with this green sparkly dress. I think it's so cute. Just holding space for that. Alright, since I have this set up for a previous video, let's just do a little update. So yesterday I had a nice little outing with my friend and I totally dropped the ball on filming B-roll footage. But basically we did a little shopping. I got this sweater from Indigo Club de Lecture and it has 1996, the year I was born. Got a couple other things, like one of these little mystery boxes where you get one of these cats. I ended up getting this cat, this little orange one on the blue slide. We also did some book shopping. So from my friend for Christmas, I got A Far Wilder Magic, which I'm really excited about because I recently talked about how this is one of my 5-star predictions. So this is great that I have this now to read in the new year. We're also doing our like book exchange that we always do where we annotate a book and gift it to each other. So this year I'm actually going to be reading Bunny and annotating it for her, which is really exciting. This is a really popular book here on BookTube. So I'm excited to finally read this because this is so many people's favorite book. Got a couple different sweaters as well because there was a sale going on at Hudson's Bay. So got this like yellowish sweater because I feel like this color looks good on me. Got this kind of cropped cardigan with roses, which I thought was cute. And then my friend actually pointed this shirt out to me. I just thought that would be good for the office. So anyways, that was the outing. And during my commute time, I did finish Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I ended up rating it 3 stars. So another flop in this video. It's actually so upsetting. But you know, it is what it is. So this is definitely my least favorite Sally Rooney book. It was long, it was a bit boring. I don't know, I just didn't connect as much with this plot as others. I feel like I basically told you guys about the story enough in the first update because it's not super plot driven. There's not really much for me to say. I mean, if you want to read about a brotherly relationship, you want to read about a depressed character, potentially suicidal character, like these are topics that are discussed. People who have like multiple relationships, like polyamory, let's say, we get into a little bit of that. I don't know, like there's not really a lot for me to say about this book. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. I think this is one maybe a lot of people will end up DNFing. I think it's really just for those people who are really into like literary artsy books, which is not necessarily me. Like, I still like her writing style, but I think it really was like the plot just didn't do enough for me. So that's that book. And then I did start reading Everyone on the Train is a Suspect when I was on the train, funny enough, by Benjamin Stevenson. So I'll read a little bit more before I come in with my halfway update. The only thing I'll say is like I have definitely been enjoying it, and this potentially will be my favorite book of the vlog. So maybe we did save the best for last. That would be nice. Oh, and let me show you something else. Look what I got. A new coloring book, spooky cute. It's been a couple days since I've been able to color, but I was just getting a little bit tired of coloring those same little creatures, like that same bear, the same bunny in almost every picture. So I just thought I would get a new coloring book to mix it up, and I've just been really wanting to have one of these spooky ones. So yeah, if I do any more coloring this week, I will show you, of course. But yeah, that's my haul. Oh, I also got a new couch. So here's a look at it. It's very similar to my last one. And then, interesting decision on our part. We decided to keep this long section from our last couch and just get rid of like this part that was totally broken. So now we have like 1.5 couches. And yeah, we just decided to keep it there so we have like extra space, and each of these pops up and has like storage. So it's a lot of couch right now, but that's how we have it for right now. Finally learned how to blend. Beautiful. So I'll use my pen here to get a cooler effect. Hey, ready to talk about Everyone on this Train is a Suspect because I am halfway through officially now. Yeah, as I alluded to before, I think this is the book I'm enjoying the most. So really excited to keep reading. This book is a follow-up to Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. However, you actually don't need to necessarily read that first book because they're purposely not spoiling the first book. However, like, I would still recommend reading the first one first, obviously, just for a bit more context. But in this series, Ernest Cunningham is our main character, and he is a writer, and he writes books about how to write mysteries. It's kind of funny, but in the first one, he ends up living a real life murder mystery situation involving his family. In this second book, it's very meta, which is really fun. We're seeing that he wrote a like memoir experience about his experience in the first book. So wait, I'm not explaining this right. So basically he has published a book called Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone in this book, and like it was a bestseller and all this stuff. So now he's like a famous author, and because of that he gets invited to this author like touring event, author festival, whatever, on this train. So there is a group of mystery or like crime writers on this train. Then there is a murder. Now obviously it's a mystery of who killed them, and all of these people on the train write about murder mysteries, so all of them technically are suspects because they know a lot about murders and getting away with murders. So Ernest himself will probably be a suspect, but of course he's going to be trying to figure out who the killer is. I mean, he's obviously going to write another book about it, the character. What makes this series stand out so much, obviously it sounds a lot like a typical murder mystery whodunit situation, but what makes it more of a standout is the way that it's told. It's very, very funny. As I said, it's very meta. Ernest is speaking directly to the reader. He will like kind of just poke fun at murder mysteries, and it's just a lot more of a unique story. The author is a comedian himself, so it's just very entertaining. Definitely a must read for any murder mystery fans. So yeah, we just recently had the person get murdered. Now we'll be kind of trying to put everything together. Obviously a lot of people have different motives for who the killer is. I have a certain suspect. I'm not going to say. I think it might be a far off guess, but I'm going to stick with it. So I'll let you know if I end up being right or not. But yeah, this is definitely shaping up to be the best book of the video. Hopefully everyone's still watching. I know this video is going to be long, like already 30 minutes, but hopefully people kept watching to see an actual like really good book at the end, because the first book I rated 4.5 stars. So hopefully this one can be the same. Hey guys, it is the next day, but I just wanted to check in because I finished Everyone on this Train is a Suspect. I actually ended up staying up later than I thought to finish the book. The second half just really had me. I couldn't stop reading. So I'm really happy to say I ended up rating it 5 stars. Yes, we finally got a 5-star book in this video. I've only had a few this year, so it's really exciting. I was talking to my boyfriend last night and he was like, well, were there any flaws in the book? And I'm like, no, like I don't really think there's any flaws that I could think of. Definitely would recommend this. I mean, just a perfect murder mystery. I've already talked about how unique and entertaining it is with the writing style and how funny it is, but in terms of the mystery as well, it was really well crafted, where there were multiple red herrings that really had fooled me. I did not guess it at all. The way that all of the different suspects and characters were intertwined together for the plot, like everyone had a purpose, everyone was kind of involved in a certain way, and I just thought it was really well done. So yeah, I'm really happy I read this. I'm glad that this is an ongoing series. I know there's a Christmas special that also came out, so now that's definitely on my radar too. Just really want to highly recommend this book, and hopefully people made it to the end to get an actual good book recommendation. So overall, of Indigo's best books, I definitely would recommend Everyone on This Train's a Suspect, and that first book I read a while ago now, the Liane Moriarty, Here One Moment, I think it was called. The other three in between, wouldn't really recommend you go out of your way to pick up. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way here. I really appreciate it. Be sure to let me know any of your thoughts down below on any of these books or on my coloring. I mean, was this a reading vlog or was it a coloring vlog? But anyways, I hope you guys continue to have a great holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Subscribe so you can see my best and worst books of the year video next week. Bye!